Daddy? Where's Daddy? Did he go out that door? Is he coming back? Is that your daddy? Is that your daddy? There he is. There's your daddy.
Hi, Jess. What are you doing?
I'm just closing my eyes. Now I'm done.
Yeah.
Can't open them. I forget.
I know. He fell asleep standing up. Pea's trying to figure out why. This could just be for us.
Bubby. I love you, Bubby.
So.
Hey guys, in today's video, I am going to tell you the story of leaving Mexico for good. This trip was the most stressful thing I think I have ever done. Here's how we did it. We had too much stuff to fly home with, and we had the cats. Oliver was not well. He was diabetic at that point. And we had PETA. She's sitting right behind me. And we had PETA, so we did not want to put her in the cargo hold of the plane. So we decided we need to drive. Here's the thing about rental cars. You can take a rental car from the United States into Mexico, but we were not able to find a rental car company that would allow us to take a rental car or van or truck or anything else from Mexico to the United States. And hiring movers was very expensive. So the cheapest way we found to move our stuff was for Jesse to fly to Texas, rent a van, and drive it back to Guanajuato, pick up Harper and me, and then drive us all back to Virginia. So for him, this trip was 7 solid days of intense travel. For Harper and me, it was 5 days. So we had to pack the entire van the morning that we left. We didn't want to pack the van and then leave it overnight because it's a brand new white minivan with Texas plates, and filling it with every single thing we owned sounded like a great way to lose our stuff and get the van broken into. So we knew we had to pack it the morning of. We had about a 12-hour drive from Guanajuato to the border, to Laredo, Texas. So we needed to make it in one day. We also did not want to be driving after dark. The border states in Mexico, the states that border the United States, are generally not the safest states, so you do not want to be driving after dark. You also don't know what roads will have street lights, so there could be things in the road, livestock, etc., and you may not be able to see it. So, very important to us that we get there before dark, which will play into the story. We lived up a little callejon, some stairs, so we had to move everything from our house down many flights of stairs into the van, back up the stairs for another load, etc. I didn't want to leave Harper in the house by herself, so one of us always had to stay in the house with her, so it was really like one of us at a time moving the stuff. It took 4 hours. We started moving stuff, mostly Jesse started moving stuff around like 5:30 in the morning. And we got on the road at 9:30. Here is where everything really falls apart. When Jessie was walking PETA to do her final business before getting in the van to go drop off the keys for the rental, he, unbeknownst to him, had a hole in his pocket. and our house keys fell out onto the street. He didn't know, so we get in the van, everybody's in the van, everybody's locked up tight, everything is packed to literally to the windows and the roof. We make our way to Casa Solaris, very tight, windy little roads, obviously. We go very slow, very carefully. We get to Casa Solaris, I go out to drop off the keys, we realize we don't have the keys. So we're freaking out. Oh my gosh, we have lost the keys. We drive back to our house. And as we pull up, this woman runs down the street with the keys and is like, hey, are you looking for these? We were like, oh my gosh, guardian angel, thank you, thank you, thank you. Got the keys from her, we head back to Casa Solaris this time. Now, we have just done this route and we had kind of bumped the windshield or the rear view mirror on the passenger side going. So we get to that corner and Jesse kind of moves a little bit too far, trying to protect the side mirror, and we nail the corner of a building. And it just ruins the side of the van. It's horrible. Okay, here's the tape. The funny thing is that I was filming it and you can hear me say, I'm filming this to show mom and dad how narrow the alleys are. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's that clip. Picture so I can show mom and dad how narrow the alleys are. Oh, I can't even watch this without feeling like a little sick to my stomach. Okay, so we wreck the van and we're right around the corner from Casa Solaris at this point. So we just go, let's drop the keys off. Let's take care of that first. So we get there, Jesse drops me off to run the keys over to the building, but I cannot get anybody at the building and I can't see any place to drop off the keys. I thought there was like a drop off box, but there wasn't. So I'm like trying to figure that out. Finally, some people come out. I think they had been cleaning the office. They come out, so I'm like working on like trying to tell them what I'm there for. Like it takes forever. By the time I turn around, a bus had come up behind Jesse, and so he needed to move the van. So he drove off to move the van, but I turn around and he's gone. And we're so shaken up at this point also because of having just crashed our rental van on the first day that we were driving it. So I'm like, oh my gosh, where did you go? I'm calling him, but his phone isn't working. So he's not getting my calls or texts. I don't know where they are. Jesse's trying to loop around, but if you've ever had the misfortune of driving in Guanajuato, first of all, I'm sorry. but it's also incredibly not car friendly. So there's not like a place, that you can always just turn around and go back. And we've also never driven in the city ourselves. So the routes that we know are pedestrian routes, not car routes. So finally I get him on the phone. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm lost. I'm like, oh my gosh, where are you? Probably a half an hour we lose of trying to find one another. I'm running around trying to find them. So finally we find each other. I get in the van, like, okay, at least we're all together. Let's try to get out of town. it's just getting later and later and later at this point. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we're gonna be driving after dark. We're gonna be driving after dark. We have also been driving around very windy roads at this point, and Harper has been entertaining herself on the iPad. Just as we get out of the city, I'm getting the documents out to make this phone call for the insurance. I hear Harper say, "Mom, my throat hurts." And then she starts crying, and it's like one of those legit, like something is wrong. And I turn around, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then she throws up multiple times all over herself and the iPad and the dog, and we're like, oh my gosh. So we're out of the city at this point. Jesse finds a place to pull over. I climb back there, I get her cleaned up, I get everybody cleaned up. So we left Silao, which is just outside of Guanajuato City, at 11:30 in the morning. We have a 12-hour drive, and we really don't want to be at the border at night at this point. Obviously, we will be at the border after dark. We will be driving for hours after dark at this point. It just like worst case scenario. But what can you do? Like, there was no other option really. So we get back in the van and we just book it. And we did not stop at all, except to get gas and to have a quick bathroom break. We ate peanut butter sandwiches in the van while we drove and snacked on things, and we just beelined it to this border.
It takes so little just to make me smile, but you don't seem to be around. My body aches for someone who makes me right, but you don't seem to take the time. You're on a mission now, I know you can't get out, and our time is running out. Ooh, bye-bye love, 'cause you don't know what my dreams are like and where I wanna go with you. Ooh, bye-bye love, 'cause you don't know and you don't seem to care that I could have gone with you anywhere. Try to be strong until you get back, but you don't seem to be around. There's just so many things I wanna say, but now I'm breaking up inside. You're on a mission now, I know you can't get out, but our time is running out. Ooh, bye-bye love, 'cause you don't know what my dreams are like and where I wanna go with you. Ooh, bye-bye love, 'cause you don't know and you don't seem to care that I could have gone with you anywhere. You're on a mission now, I know you can't get out, but our time is running out. Ooh, bye-bye love, you don't know. Ooh, bye-bye love, 'cause you don't know what my dreams are like and where I wanna go with you. Ooh, bye-bye love, 'cause you
Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Hey darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two. Hey darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time, driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Yeah, we only get one life. I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
Like a piggyback ride.
It is a piggyback ride, exactly.
In Houston, we stopped to visit the Space Center. Jesse and his family had lived in Houston for a few years when he was a teenager, and back in Florida, both of our fathers worked in the space industry. Our whole childhoods were filled with rockets and space shuttles and launches, and it was so nostalgic to take Harper there. The space program is something I'm most proud of about my country, and so it was really special to be welcomed back to the United States with something so familiar and nostalgic.
The coming waves kiss my feet. The touch from the warm wind that's blowing reminded me touch from a warm wind is blowing in, is keeping me safe. I don't know for how long I can carry on, pretending that everything's alright, and that it will be fine in the end. In the end. In the
There's no one like you, my little girl. Your eyes so blue under those brown curls. Soon you're on your way, promise me that you know the world is yours. Strike them with your glow. Go on now, be good, be fine. Live your life, dream big, don't forget to be kind. Live, it's your life. Rocks are meant to be picked up and thrown. New ideas can be pleasantly overgrown. But you know where to go if you follow that heart. One step at a time, we all play our part. Go on now, be good, be fine. Live your life, dream big, don't forget to be kind. Live, it's your life. Go on now, chase your dreams, every city